Another thing I hear all too often is what if statements. You know, what if this happens? What if that happens? And what if this happens? My coworkers do it all the time. I'm like, just go up and ask them. I'm like, well, what if they're upset? What if this happen? What if I'm like, that hasn't happened yet. You know, you're so focused on the what if that you lose sight of what is. And what is the only thing that matters. I mean, you could say, what if I was walking to my truck in the parking lot, trip, boom, hit my head, died. Like, you know, that hasn't happened. And if I put that what if scenario in my brain and start thinking about it, then it's more likely to become reality. Because thinking creates feeling, and feeling creates thinking. So when you think about those bad what if scenarios, then you're going to start to feel bad. And when you feel bad, well, feeling creates thinking. Now you're going to keep generating bad thoughts. You're going to keep generating those what ifs. What if they don't like me? What if I don't get the job? What if my life doesn't turn out the way I want it to? And meanwhile, while you're stressing yourself out with all those what ifs, time is still passing. None of that stuff has happened. And you haven't made any progress because you're so worried about the things that could go wrong. You know, I mean, you could think of good what ifs. What if I'm rich? But then you're still saying what if. There's no if. It's when you set a goal, it's when. It's not a matter of if. It's not a matter of if it happens. It's a matter of when it happens. And the most common one I hear is what if they don't like me? Whether it's an acquaintance slash friend, coworker, boss, some sort of interview thing. Maybe you're like my friend Jeff, who's a comedian. Are you gonna go out on stage and your first thought before you walk out there is, what if they don't like me? No. That is not the best recipe for success. I mean, the best example of this, well, not of what if statements, but I would say more of approval, is in the restaurant industry. We constantly kind of get new managers, and a lot of times when we get new managers, they try way too hard to get everybody to like them, and it works against them, because they're a new manager, right? They obviously want to prove to the general manager that, hey, they know what they're doing, but then they also want to prove to the employees that, well, they're likable. And in doing so, they are constantly juggling between these two, like, oh, am I a good manager? Do the servers does the staff like me? Does my GM like me? And it kind of works against them because people can tell, you can tell that, like, the behavior that they present is a product of them wanting approval. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people, I mean, my parents were watching this YouTube video. I think this guy's name was Aaron Dowdy. And he was talking about this. He was talking about approval, Everyone goes around, like, well, he said in his video, asking for a stamp. And I think that's a great analogy. You walk around with your paper, it says, am I worthy? Yes, no. And you're like, that's the new managers when they walk in. They do this, and this, and they're like, here's my paper. Yes or no? Yes or no? And, like, it doesn't matter, because the only person that you need approval from is yourself. I mean, if you go around seeking approval from others, you're putting all this pressure on yourself for nothing. Why does it matter? Why does it matter if they like you or don't like you? You know, you can't change their thinking. They like you, you like them, cool. No issue. You know? Maybe they don't like you. Well, that sucks for them, you know? Like, what can you do about that? Are you gonna stress about how they don't like you? How they thought, like, your outfit looks stupid? No, because it doesn't matter. You don't need approval from them because it holds no value. The only reason it holds value is because you think it does. You know, you think, well, what if I can get this person to like me? You know? But when you go out seeking approval, you give everybody else your power. You know? I mean, grab a stamp and stamp your own fucking paper. And just see how that feels. I mean, everybody puts these certain things so high up on a pedestal that they want. Whether it's money, approval from others, fame, maybe any other dream you have, like making it to the NFL, big league sports, etc. You know, they only focus on that desired outcome instead of the process to get there. And the problem with that is when you put it up on a pedestal like that and the end goal is your only focus, then you, like I said in my last video, you're not learning anything from the process. You're just going through the motions. You know? And if you just go through the motions, well, a year later, 2 years later, where are you going to be at? You know? But all in all, stop with the what if statements, because what if you didn't make those statements? You know, think about that one. What if there was a world out there where you don't care what other people think? I'm sure there's a few of you dreading Christmas right now because you have some in-laws or some other family and they're gonna ask you, oh, how's college going? Or if you're not going to college, oh, how's that trade school? You got your CDL yet? And you might not have the answers that they want to hear. And you know, you're kind of dreading it because you know that they're gonna give you that condescending look that they give you every year. But the thing is, it shouldn't make you upset. The reason it makes you upset is because you're seeking their approval. You know, I mean, even though it's your family and you do want them to approve of you, if they don't approve, so what? There's no law saying that, like, they have to approve of what you're doing. You know, they're not you. Even though they're related to you, they are not you. And then in doing so, that approval-seeking mindset, that's all you're gonna think about the whole Christmas. And then you're more likely to have a bad Christmas because, well, you're upset because you didn't get that stamp. When the whole time all you had to do was stamp that shit yourself. I mean, when you look back on life and you open your little filing cabinet of memories, don't you just want it to be full of good days? If you're somebody right now who's going through life and they're like, oh, dude, my life sucks, I hate this, I gotta do this for Christmas. Oh my God, I have to go talk to these people. Blah blah blah. If you're somebody who's kind of like that every day, and maybe that's what people associate with your personality is, well, that attitude, then you're gonna 30, 40, 50 years from now, you're gonna look back and your filing cabinet's gonna be full of red envelopes, red files. You open them and like it's just bad days. I mean, when you look back and you open that drawer, you just bad days. That's what you want. No, I want to collect as many good days as possible. So when I look back on my life, you feel a sense of pride. Like, fuck yeah, I remember that was a good day because of this, this, and this. And when I remember and when I think about those memories, well, I feel the emotions from them, and feeling creates thinking. And if I think about my good memories, then I'll feel good. And if I feel good, then I produce more good thoughts. And then the cycle continues. But the same thing is true with bad thinking, You open your filing cabinet up in here and you're going through bad memories, and then you start to feel all those emotions from those memories, and then those emotions create more bad thoughts. Now you're like, well, Dylan, how do I break the cycle? I feel like my subconscious just constantly produces bad thoughts. And like I said in one of my other videos, start small. Just walk outside, look at the sky, and just tell yourself it's a good day. Like, one of two things will happen. Either you'll walk outside and it's a good day. Well, it will be a good day because you said it's a good day. Or even if like the weather's piss poor, by you saying that it's a good day, you'll remember that. When you look back on that day, you'll be like, oh yeah, that was the day that I walked outside and it was a good day. And then it actually was a good day because, well, since you did that in the morning, you kind of directed your mindset. Since your first thought was, damn, today's a good day, that thought created a feeling of, wow, it is a good day. And that feeling will create more good thoughts, You'll start, if you just say it's a good day, then your brain's gonna start thinking of all the reasons that it's a good day. Now you walk outside, it's a good day. You're looking up, you're like, wow, it's nice and a little chilly out. The fog's rolling in. It's quiet. The birds are chirping. It's Christmas. By the way, Merry Christmas, guys. I hope everybody's having a good Christmas. If you're not, I hate to say it, but it's your fault, That sounds a little arrogant to say, considering I don't know anybody's situation out there. But I remember when I was in school, on the announcements at the very end, every time they'd be like, make it a great day or not, the choice is yours. And for 12 years, I thought that shit was so fucking cheesy. I was like, you're trying to tell me that, like, if I got hit on the bus on the way here, that it's still my choice to make it a good day? And the thing is yeah, it is, Like, if I got hit by a bus, sure, that shit would probably hurt, but I could cry about it. Be like, oh, or I could have the perspective of, holy fuck, I got hit by a bus and I'm still alive. It's a good fucking day. Anyway, guys, I'll be back. Merry Christmas. Y'all have a good one.